Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dolphy. I am a lawyer by profession, and it is an extreme joy for me to be here this afternoon. I'm sorry that you have to learn about law in the afternoon. It's not one of the most exciting things to talk about, but it's also important for us to know what law talks about. And we are here today because we care. We care for the children around us. And what we want to know is how do we legally protect our children? You wouldn't have been sitting here today through this session on a Saturday afternoon if you did not care. And so, what I'm going to do quickly in the next 15 to 20 minutes is just talk to you about one of the best laws that we have in our country, the POXO law. For many of you, you're very familiar. For some of you, you've never heard of it. And that's all right. POXO is a law which was instated in the year 2012. It really talks about protection of children against sexual offenses act. And what does that mean? What are some of the principles? And what is your and my responsibility in that is what we're going to talk about today. So let's start at the very beginning. We're going to talk about children. India is the home to the largest number of children in the world. 42% of India's population are children below the age of 18. I'm just going to let that sink in for a few seconds for you. 42% of India's population are children below the age of 18. Child sexual abuse is a shocking statistic. One in two children are sexually abused. You'll be surprised to hear that more boys are abused than girls. And more often than not, the perpetrator is a known person. It is never a stranger. So, given this scenario, and given the fact that child sexual abuse is a reality wherever we go, in our schools, in our churches, in our houses, in every sphere today, it is important that we are able to address this situation. So, what we're going to do is we're going to learn a few features of POXO this afternoon. So, first, let me tell you who does a POXO Act or Protection of Children Against Sexual Offences Act cover? It covers all children below the age of 18. Does it cover boys and girls? Of course it does. It covers both boys and girls. And it is the same in all states of India. So it really doesn't matter where you're, POXO will be covered under that. What does POXO do? POXO basically has some important features that it talks about. It really talks about what are the different kinds of offenses that are there. It talks about how those offenses can be addressed. It talks about how do we help the children in the situation. And it talks about your responsibility and my responsibility as caregivers. Who are the caregivers? We often think that the parents are the only caregivers. But actually, each one of us seated today are caregivers. If you are a teacher, if you're a counselor, if you are a Sunday school teacher, if you are a drawing teacher, if you're a music teacher, if you know a child, we're all caregivers. It is often said that each one of us have a circle of influence, but we forget that children are our greatest circle of influence that we have. And you would never even know sometimes a child will just trust you because of who you are. So never forget that you are a caregiver. So let's go on now. What does POXO talk about in terms of sexual offenses? POXO talks about six different kinds of sexual offenses that can happen. Oftentimes, you don't even know that there are six different kinds of sexual offenses. But let me just describe it. Let me just say this. It's going to be uncomfortable to hear some of this. We often don't talk about it, but it's also important that we talk about it now and you're more aware of it. So, what are the six different kinds of sexual assaults or offenses that POXO lays down? It talks about penetrative sexual assault. It talks about aggravated penetrative sexual assault. It talks about sexual assault. It talks about aggravated sexual assault. It talks about sexual harassment. It talks about using child for pornography purposes. Now you may be asking, what is the difference between all of this? There is laid out differences in POXO. The definitions define what some of this would be. But let me tell you, even the fact that a child feels uncomfortable to be around an adult, when it does not necessarily have to lead to an abuse or even a molestation, could also be termed as assault in terms of POXO. Oftentimes we think only if there's a rape, that is assault. But even the fact that a child feels uncomfortable to talk to an uncle or an auntie for that matter is also abuse, and that is covered under POCSO. So now that we've talked a little bit about the definition of POCSO, you may be wondering what are my roles and responsibilities in it. Oftentimes we think, oh, I've heard of it, but it's better that we don't talk about it. We just shed away from what we hear about and we don't want to talk about it. But POCSO very clearly lays down some principles that you and I, as normal citizens, have to also follow. A, reporting is mandatory for all. If I get to hear about a child being abused or a child confronts in me, and if I don't talk about it and keep it to myself, then I am mandated by law to speak about it. If I don't, I can't be arrested or fined. Basically, the law says if I fail to report any case of child sexual abuse, then it's an offense punishable by law. It is absolutely obligatory for us to report a child sexual abuse case. You may oftentimes think, I just received this information as a Sunday school teacher, or I just received this information as a class teacher, or I received this information as a doctor, I received this information as a counselor, and it is just my moral obligation and duty to keep it to myself because it's a confidential relationship. But actually, Foxo says, even if you receive information in a confidential relationship, you need to report it. I often work with the police quite a bit on child sexual abuse cases, and we've had doctors who we've had to arrest because these children were brought by the parents or an adult that the child trusted to the doctor, and the doctor knew that there was a sexual abuse that happened to the child, but failed to report it. So, in case you think, oh, but the child just mentioned it at the time of Sunday school, or the child just mentioned in the passing, it is your moral obligation and your legal obligation to find out more and to ensure that you report it. We often think, where do I report it and how do I report it? Do I have to go to the police? Our legal system is not perfect. The police system is not perfect. Therefore, oftentimes we as normal citizens of the country, we shed away from going to the police. We shed away from going to the court. That's the last place we want to go, right? If we want to go to the court or the hospital, those are not the places that we want to go. But we should know where and how we can report it. If you're getting this information as a part of being within your church organization, you can always report it to your senior management or the deacons or the elders, and it is their responsibility to take it forward. But if it's also your responsibility to ensure that it is reported. If you get it as a part of being a teacher, you should be reporting that to your principal or to the head of the school and also ensure and follow up that it is reported. So let me help you understand what are some of the mechanisms to report these cases. In all of our police stations, there's something called an SJPU, Special Juvenile Police Unit. What does this police unit basically do? This police unit is made for children alone. This unit looks after the well-being of the children. They look after any abusive situation for children. What they do is when you report to them, you can even keep it anonymous. I have oftentimes reported cases to the SJPU and I have been kept anonymous, and the police has done an independent investigation without pulling my name into it. They'll put a number and record of the information in a simple language book for the records. If you think that the child is in need of an immediate care and protection, the police makes an arrangement within 24 hours. They also inform something called the Child Welfare Committee or the CWC. Many of us don't know what the CWC is. Uh, when a case for a child abuse is reported or any cases that relate to children, children are not supposed to go to the court. The Child Welfare Committee is the place where a child goes to. That is the bench of magistrate that the child case is taken up and it's reported to. In fact, I would highly, highly encourage if some of you are seated over here who come from legal background or from a background of being a medical practitioner or a teacher, if you can get plugged into the CWC, that will be one of the best things that you could do. We need people who can make a difference in the government. And so I would highly, highly encourage you to be plugged into the CWC. They nominate and elect people every 3 years, and the term of the board is for 3 years. So moving on, the SCPU takes the case to the Child Welfare Committee, and the Child Welfare Committee or the Special Court for Children looks into the matter. So what does the SGPU really do? The SGPU or the Special Juvenile Police Unit works along with the District Child Protection Unit, with the Child Welfare Committee, with the Juvenile Justice Board, with the Child Labor Department, with the Education Department, the Health Department, and they conduct monthly review meetings for all of those departments. And then what is your responsibility again through all of those? There is within POXO, what is defined is the right of a child. Uh, we often as adults make rules and regulations for children. We often at times think for the children. We often speak on behalf of the children. But we also forget that the child has a voice, and the child has a right. We make these decisions for them. But POXA actually talks about the rights of the children, the right for a child to be protected, the right of a child to be removed from the abuser. The abuser could be his or her own father or mother or own family members. And POXO has a provision of removing the child from a place that the child feels threatened. The abuser could be their own class teacher. It could be their own games teacher. It could be their own people in the church, unfortunately. But Coxon talks about how a child can be removed from the place of abuse. The child needs to be told what is happening in the case. Oftentimes, we don't tell the children and we tell them, you don't understand. I have a 9-year-old in the house who will often tell me, Mama, did you ask me before you did this for me? So I've learned to ask her opinion. I've learned to listen to her. Of course, as an adult, I know better. Sometimes that's what I think. But if I actually listen to her, she has a lot of wisdom that I miss out on seeing. So if you actually take time out to listen to a child, you'll realize that our wisdom is not always enough. They do have wisdom, and if we actually listen to them carefully and we actually listen to hear them, we will know a lot more in the world what's happening. POXO gives us the provision for the child to be heard. POXO gives the provision for a child to be told on what is happening. It also talks about and when a child is taken for investigation or for medical purposes, the child has the right to refuse the medical treatment. The child also has the right to tell you when and where child wants to be interviewed. So if a child does not feel safe to be interviewed within the police station, then the child can be taken to a place of his or her choice. Actually, for that matter, a child should never be investigated in a police station or interrogated in a police station. If the child is taken to a police station, there are usually child friendly corners, and most police stations around the country now have child friendly corners where a child is interrogated. Um, the police officials should not be wearing this police uniforms. They should be wearing civil uniforms. The child can have anyone of his or her choice sitting with him or her during the entire conversation. If the child goes to the hospital for a medical test, the child can refuse if there is no female doctor in case of a female child. It is always advised that for a female child or a girl child, a female doctor actually examines her. The child can have any adult of his or her choice staying with him or her during the whole time of the process. So, like I said earlier, you may oftentimes think, what is my circle of influence? I don't meet children. I don't talk to them every day. I'm not a Sunday school teacher. I am not a teacher in the school. I'm not a singing teacher or a drawing teacher or anything to do with children. But you know what? For a child, you would mean the world to them. And so if a child shares something with you, they have really trusted you. Don't make it break their trust. Be there for them. Walk with them. Be their support. Don't put them down. They've already been through hard situations. All they need is somebody to lean on, somebody who they would trust, and somebody who would just be there for them. POXO also talks about keeping the information of a child who's been abused confidential, the privacy of information. In our culture, we don't tell something to somebody what's happening, but we all talk about ourselves. The joke is, I share a secret with you, you go and tell it to somebody else, saying that this is a secret. Don't tell anyone. And by the time it becomes a whole, so and then everyone knows the secret, but no one's talking to each other. Don't do that to a child, please. Keep the information private. It takes a child to trust an adult, especially when the trust is broken. So if a child is trusting you, please keep that information confidential. Media plays a big role. And oftentimes, now, at least in our world today, media has been playing a huge role, especially when it comes to child sexual abuse or, for that matter, rape and violence. It is your ultimate responsibility to ensure that the media does not publish pictures or names of children. Because POXO is very clear on this. If certain things are published, that is offensive to law and that could amount to time in prison. So let me help you understand how to read the law. It's very boring. If you're not a lawyer, you would hate it. But the law is good. If you know it, you will understand it. So let me help you read. It's a little ready reckoner that I can help you with. So POSO gives you definitions. Okay, the law is divided into sections, and to read it, I'll help you understand how you read the sections. Okay, there are sections and definitions of abuse in sections 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 16, 18. And you may be wondering, why is it not going 1 to 10? Why is it going 3 and then 5, then 7, then 9, then 11, then 13, then 15, then 16, and 18? I'll tell you why. Because the definition of abuse is within these sections. But what happens is the punishment related to that abuse. So, how the law defines it, there's a definition and there's a punishment. There's a definition and there's a punishment. So, section 3 talks about one kind of definition, and then section 4 talks about the punishment related to that definition. Then there is section 5, which talks about a particular kind of definition, defines the abuse, and then section 6 talks about the punishment. So the punishments are in section 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 17. So now if you look at the whole gamut of it, then you'll see, okay, the definitions are in 3, punishment in 4, 5, punishment in 6. So that's how the law goes, right? I talked a little bit about mandatory reporting. If you look at sections 19 through 22, that's quite a bit. That's 4 sections of law that talks about mandatory reporting. If you could ever find a POXO Bear Act, please get it. It's very easy read. Please do read it, especially if you're working with children. So mandatory reporting, and it talks about the different kinds and different professions and how they're supposed to report. So sections 19 through 22 talks about mandatory reporting. It talks about medical examination code procedures, which talks about my responsibility and your responsibility as citizens. It also talks about how our procedures and medical examinations can happen and the rights of children within that. That's section 23 to 38. There's a lot of challenges, and it's hard sometimes to report on law. But it's important that we know the law. It's important that we are aware people. And it's also important that as an organization, wherever you are, there is an internal committee to take up cases like this. The burden should never be on an individual, especially in an organizational setup. It's always important that we have support and we support each other within the organization, within our community. To deal with hard issues, we always need a community. We cannot do that in silos. So I would highly recommend, if you belong to an organization, if you're heading an organization, if you're part of an organization, please go back. And if you did not have an internal committee, please create an internal committee. So when cases like this come up, you are able to deal with it together. And it's a collective wisdom rather than a single person's wisdom. So to sum it all up, all that I've been speaking for the last few minutes, always remember to keep the best interest of the child in your mind. Never ever be judgmental towards a child. Maintain the confidentiality of the child. Never break the trust of the child that has been placed in you. And most importantly, abuse is never ever the fault of a child. We cannot do this alone. We do need a community to come together. And I'm so, so honored to know that you are coming together today to learn and to grow, because this is what's going to make a difference for our children. And this is together we're going to be able to stop child sexual abuse within our spheres of influence. Thank you so much and have a great afternoon.